somebody that wants to become a builder or an architect or wants to go be something that requires just this long laundry list of education, experience, just degrees, what advice would you give them?
You can't be afraid to be dirty, and you're doing absolutely every little element of the house, and this, using this example of a house, so you're there when they're sort of pulling out the house. You see how they actually demo it. You learn so much about who built it before. When you get into the ground, you start looking at the foundation. And there's all these elements, and you have to be complete open to doing anything. I mean, I'm saying anything. Like, there are times when we have an open house or we're gonna have someone come in. I am on my hands and knees scrubbing something. We're not afraid. It's just, you're just getting in it and getting it done. And you can't be afraid of any of that. You can't ever think to yourself, well, but, I'm not going to.
I'm too good for that.
I'm too good for, I don't think that there's any room for that at all in someone who's going to be it sounds bad. Is it self-made? Is that the word they call
self-made.
it? Right? Because it's just this thing that you're like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in there.
What are the benefits of taking a non-traditional approach to a career path versus a traditional approach?
I think that, number one, it's problem solving. I think in any business, it's being able to not freak out when something's going on, whatever it is, because you've got this boots on the ground knowledge, and you're able to find the solution to something and then be able to do it. And I think you can only get that from real world experience. If it's just coming up with the solutions of things, you just go, we have to be able to fix it. I think in any business, I would imagine in journalism and anything, something's like, oh, as soon as you see it, what's the solution? I don't know how you get that in school. I just don't.
Let's talk about risk. It seems like you've taken a lot of risk to get to where you are today.
And the risk is so ginormous that it scares and terror. When you really think of, I want to flip houses, and you look at it, you go, oh my goodness, that's all cash. Like, that's all cash, and you're holding it. In naivete, in not being afraid to lose, in me not being afraid again to wash floors, or not wash floors, but to do my finishes. I've done it. I've been there. I didn't die. I just did it. I just don't know any business. You have to have that risk. And getting back to risk in the market, the thing about real estate is the thing about flipping is that's a year or so, almost a year. And you don't know what the market's going to do. 1,000 things can happen. So you have all this money, time, love invested into it, and all of a sudden something happens with the market and you have no idea you're down the road. Never mind trends. You have to order tile, you have to order these things, and you have to foresee what are they going to want to have a year from now. That's what I'm saying about risk in this business. But the rewards, of course, are, they're ginormous.
And you don't build for somebody, you don't have somebody, hire you and say, I want you to build this house for me. You just do it. You go and you buy the property, you tear it down, you rebuild it, and you're designing for the future owner, whoever that might be.
That's correct. And it's and that's when you think about it.
That's like that's a lot of risk.
It's a lot of risk. And you have to just design something for someone you don't know. You know what else you need? It's a personality. You know what I mean? Because you really have to get in there and connect with people outside. Like when I want to get a great price on this fantastic table, I want to go do, a million things. The neighbors who hate construction. When you really get into it, you really have to have a certain kind of whatever to be able to get through it and just be positive and not be kind of stuck in it, not get caught up in the pieces, not get caught up in any of it.
Not let these little individual setbacks just get you down.
They're all solution based.
Yeah.
The thing is, what is the problem? I have a bad neighbor, or the neighbor is sensitive. What is the solution? It's to make her happy.
It's also like not just feeling a home, but it's feeling the people that you're working with, and feeling whether it's somebody that you're trying to buy a table or your neighbors. It's like feeling somebody else and saying, okay, how can I work with them to get what I want?
Absolutely, and it's what's good for all, because you never say no. When you work for yourself, and you're your own person, you literally can never say no to a job. And you might know this yourself. You get the phone call, you're like, I have to say yes. I mean, you have to say yes. Yes.
Because you don't know when it's going to end.
Absolutely.
It can just end at any moment.
Absolutely, and you don't know who you're going to meet. Relationships, so it's always saying yes. The relationships with the people you're going to meet and not being afraid to take those risks. I think that is ginormous. I mean, probably the biggest thing. Do they teach that in school? Maybe. I didn't go, so I don't know.
At the Kim Gordon's.